13 years is a long time to do anything, long enough that the days stop being individual things and become one continuous thing. A low hum you stop noticing. That is how police work feels in a town like Dellers Creek. Roughly 8,000 people, 2 stoplights, a grain cooperative, and a diner that has been open since my father was a child. The county seat is 40 minutes east. People here know each other by their trucks, by their dogs, by the specific sound a muffler makes from 3 blocks away. Crime exists the way weather exists, predictable, seasonal, rarely dangerous. I have been a deputy with the Dellers Creek Sheriff's Department since I was 26. Not the sheriff, not a detective, a deputy, which in a town this size means you drive slowly past things and make sure they look the way they are supposed to look. I am good at it, because I know what this place looks like when it is normal. When Dellers Creek is normal, the Prentice Road stretch between the grain bins and the old cannery is empty after 8 at night. The parking lot behind the VFW has 3 trucks in it on Thursdays and 5 on Fridays. The light above the loading dock at Gerhardt's feed stays on all night because Ray Gerhardt forgets to turn it off. I notice these things the way you notice your own breathing, without thinking, without deciding to. That is how I know when something is wrong. In 13 years, I have had 3 calls I cannot explain. The first 2 I could almost rationalize if I worked at it. The third one I cannot. The third one is the reason I am writing this down, but I have to start with the first one, because without it, the third one is just a strange story. The first call came in my 2nd year. A report of a woman walking along the shoulder of Route 9 heading west, past the point where the road enters state forest. No car. No coat. This was February. 14 below. Doris, our dispatcher, had gotten it from a passing trucker who said the woman had not responded when he slowed to ask if she needed help. Just kept walking. I drove out. It took me 6 minutes. Route 9 west of town is straight and flat for almost 4 miles before the tree line begins. There was nobody on that road. Not on the shoulder. Not in the ditch. Nothing in the snow except the track of one set of footprints heading west. Straight and even. The spacing of someone walking at a steady, unhurried pace. I followed them in the cruiser with the spotlight on. They continued for half a mile past where the trucker said he had seen her. Then they stopped. Not at a driveway. Not at a pull-off. They stopped in the middle of the shoulder, the last print facing west, and that was it. The snow on either side was undisturbed. No prints heading back. No prints into the field. I sat with the spotlight on that last footprint for a while. Then I drove back to town. I told myself the wind had filled some of the prints. I filed the report, went home, and spent 3 nights not sleeping well. The second call came 4 years later, a noise complaint at the Halverson property on County Road 12. The Halverson place had been empty for 2 years since Mick Halverson moved to his daughter's place in Duluth after his hip went. The complaint came from the nearest neighbor, Bev Crandall, a quarter-mile down, who said she could hear piano music from the Halverson house. I knew the Halverson house. I had been inside it once, years before, on an unrelated call. Square, plain farmhouse. Linoleum floors. Furniture nobody had replaced since Mick's wife passed. It did not have a piano. It was close to 11 when I pulled up. Property was dark. I got out and stood in the driveway and listened. Bev Crandall was right. There was music. Not loud, not the kind of thing you could hear from the road, but standing there with the engine off, I could hear it. Single notes, played slowly, the way someone plays when working something out from memory. The tone was wrong for a piano. Lower, more hollow, something wooden. I went to the door and knocked. No response. I tried the handle. Unlocked. I pushed it open and stepped inside. The music stopped the moment the door moved. I walked every room in that house. 8 minutes. Nobody inside. No instrument of any kind. The kitchen counter had a coffee cup with a ring of dried residue, the kind that takes weeks to form. The bedroom had a bare mattress and a layer of dust undisturbed enough to show mouse tracks going back and forth across it. The last room I checked was the small back room off the kitchen. Cardboard boxes, a water heater, a shelf with old paint cans, and in the middle of the floor, a chair. Facing the wall, the dust around it had been disturbed in a rough circle. Recently, clearly, I looked at that chair for a long time. Then I locked the door behind me and drove away. That is the part I have never told anyone. Not the music. The chair, I am telling it now, because of the third call. 3 months ago, the Ecker Road Bridge, which crosses Stillman Creek about 2 miles outside town. A man fishing from the bank below had called it in. A woman on the bridge, standing at the railing, looking down. Had not moved in over 20 minutes. I got there in 4 minutes. The bridge was empty. I got out and walked it end to end. Looked over both railings, called out. Nothing. I went down the embankment to where the fisherman was waiting. His name was Walt Deering. I have known Walt for 9 years. He is not a man who invents things. He told me she had been there when he called. Had been there the entire 4 minutes it took me to arrive, and was gone in the time it took me to park and get out of the cruiser. Young woman, dark coat. Standing completely still. He had called up to her twice while dialing, and she had not responded. I asked him what she looked like. He thought for a moment. Then he said something I have not been able to put down since. He said she looked like someone who had already gone somewhere, that her face had that quality. The way you can sometimes look at a person and know, without being told, that they have already made a decision. I stood there on the bank and looked up at the empty bridge. I thought about the footprints ending in the snow, the chair facing the wall. I have been trying to figure out whether the woman Walt described is the same one from Route 9 9 years before, or something that puts on that shape, the way water takes the shape of whatever holds it. What I know is this: 13 years in Dellers Creek, 3 moments that do not fit, 3 moments the job could not explain, could not file, could not close. Whatever is walking Route 9 in February, whatever sits in empty houses and plays music that stops when the door opens, whatever stands on bridges and looks down with a face that has already decided. I do not know if it is one thing or many. I do not know if it is waiting or searching. I am not sure those are different questions.